Okay, so fair warning, I'm just gonna talk and ramble on in this video here. But I was talking with or commenting back and forth. Oh shit, probably the Rona. Uh, Commenting back and forth with a viewer uh, about the video I made, why I think Factor 55 is stupid. And he had actually told me about these deals here that Factor 55 now apparently has straps, and was essentially just asking me what I think about it. And I guess he is wanting to skid some logs behind a pickup, and was curious about my opinion on these. Um, and I figured I would just jump on the computer and see what it says. He was saying that they're evidently like Kevlar, um, they have Kevlar in them or something like that, whatever. And worked out perfect because I actually have a whole shitload of my web slings on the table at the moment because I was pulling them off the truck and putting them back in the shop. And so I figured, just as good a time now as any to talk a little bit about this, and probably just going to ramble on for a while and what have you about it. So fair warning on that. But anyways, I just don't get the Factor 55 thing. I really don't. To me, it's just overpriced and, big hoopla and everything about it for really, in my opinion, no good reason. Granted, everything has pros and cons, and there's benefits and advantages and disadvantages to everything. I had commented on that video that I made of why I think Factor 55 is stupid, that the one good use that I've heard for Factor 55's Ultra Hook is, I guess, our local search and rescue uses it because it's a lightweight hook that has 2 attachment points on it. And so they use it on their helicopters, and we'll send a rescuer over the side in one of the connection points, and then if there's somebody dead in a canyon or whatever the crap, then they can send a rescuer over the side of the helicopter and connect the other person into the other recovery point or the other connection point without having to fiddle fart around with stuff. Just snap it in, and away she goes. And in that instance, I understand their Ultra Hook. I guess we can go there right quick if it's not gonna take too damn much time, but I don't even know where it is. Maybe there? I don't know, screw it, whatever. Anyways, just Google the Ultra Hook if you want to. But in that select instance, I understand it, making sense because it's aluminum, so it's lighter weight. It's not going to be abused in the same sense that it would, say on on the end of your winch rope if you're actually going to use the thing and, potentially put it over a sharp edge or whatever, because the Factor 55 stuff like this here is aluminum. And so, steel is going to win over aluminum quick, fast, and in a hurry. But looking on their website here of these straps, I don't get what the deal is with these things. And especially why they're so damn expensive. So you can see here, Factor 55 standard duty and extreme duty, 2-inch wide double ply, so 2-ply, 2-inch wide 2-ply, 30-foot long straps. Straps are designed for towing, pulling, yada yada yada. Not to be confused with snatch straps, although the rigging straps that I have are actually not that they're intended for it, but they do work as a snatch strap. So it says here, properly designed tow rope should be made from a low stretch 100% polyester – and allow for little to no stretch and allow vehicles to be towed, blah, blah, blah. And then here, Factor 55, tow straps manufactured in the U.S. from 100% polyester material, yada, yada. I don't see anything anywhere about Kevlar or anything like that, although it is interesting that if you look at their straps here, it shows two different colors. So I don't, like, why is one more expensive than the other? I don't get it. And I haven't read the entire thing here, so maybe it says in there why one's more expensive than the other. But if we blow up on the tag here for theirs, it actually doesn't say 2-inch anywhere on here, but of course it says in the description 2-inch, 2-ply, 30-foot long, 6,200 pounds, 6,200 vertical, 4,960 choker, and 12,400 basket, which to me is really weird because all other rigging straps that I've seen are all the same rating, assuming that you're talking about a 2-inch 2-ply. If you 2-inch 4-ply, then obviously it would go up. But I don't understand why this is a lower rating. And it's interesting too. They say tow strap on here, but they have these ratings on here, so I would assume it's just a regular old rigging strap that's rated for overhead lifting, although they don't actually specifically say that anywhere, which I find kind of interesting. Oh, yeah, okay, so there's their ultra hook. And yeah, so like I said, I guess a search and rescue, they'll put, you bitch, cycle through. Anyways, already talked about that. But yeah, so I don't get the point to these things. It doesn't make any sense to me. Because if you go for the extreme duty tow strap, it's $120. Which, that's a shitload of money for a strap like that. All of mine are just regular old rigging straps. And so this here is on Tulsa Chain's website. There's actually not a lot of rigging shops that have a website, but these guys obviously do. And these, my rigging straps are made at a relatively local place. I'm sure these are made by somebody else, and I don't know, maybe Tulsa Chain's big enough that they make their own. But so if we go down here, and maybe you can't read it or something. Well, I guess you can. But 2-inch, 2-ply, 30-foot strap is 6,400 pounds vertical, 5,000 pounds choker, and 12,800 pounds basket, and it's $47. So why would I want to spend $120 on what is, near as I can tell, the same damn thing? It's just a different color. So if we go back to Tulsa Chain here, let's see. Let's go with 4-inch. Let's see how big of a strap we have to get to spend $120. So a 4-inch 2-ply 30-foot is actually $95. So I suppose extrapolating from that, maybe a 20-foot is $66. So a difference of 30. So maybe a 40-foot 4-inch would be 120. I don't know. But let's find one here that actually is. Okay, so 4-inch, 4-ply 12-foot. 4-inch, 4-ply 12-foot is $128 and is 22,000 pounds vertical, 17,600 choker, and 44,000 pounds basket. And I'm sure that you'd have to pay shipping from Tulsa chain, but I'm sure that you would have to pay shipping from Factor 55 as well. Um, so just like, why the hell? Why why would I buy this? It just doesn't make any sense to me. Um, I guess leave your thoughts and comments and everything in the video here, and be cool to see if maybe there's some reason why these things are so damn expensive. But yeah, viewer said he was wanting to skid logs around with a pickup and was talking about using a logging choker to do so, and he was saying that he was thinking of a 3/4 by 12-foot choker. So here's a 3/4 by 15-foot choker, 41,000 pounds breaking strength for $100. And most or all rigging shops that I'm aware of will build custom things. So if for some reason scroll down here. If for some reason you don't want a 15-foot and you specifically want a 3/4 by 12-foot choker, you can order one of those, and you can see this here has buttons or whatever you want to call it on either end there, and they have other ones that say have a round master link on the end of it, or a Flemish eye on the end of it with no ferrule. The ones with the master link have a ferrule in them. You can order these things however you want, and rigging shops will build them however you want. And you can also do, let's see. So all the components. So a 3/8 by 12-foot with one of these choker hooks on it is $97. So there's all kinds of different options for what you can do with that. And this company here is West Tech Rigging. They're in the Pacific Northwest, out of Oregon, I think. But I don't remember where. Tulsa chain, obviously, is Tulsa, Oklahoma. But they have all kinds of shit. This looks different than when you're on a cell phone. But they have all kinds of shit too. So they have polyester and nylon slings, which I actually don't own any round slings. This fucking computer would load. Holy shit. I hate technology. Whoa. That's going fast. So I don't know how far down we have to go to get to round slings. Apparently pretty far down. Okay, there we go. So personally, if I were skidding logs around, I would want steel of some type or another, whether that was wire rope or chain. But just for an example here, so here's a endless round sling, 10,000 pound working load, $80. 20 foot, 10,000 pound, and I'm assuming that's vertical. 10,000 vertical for, a lot less money than you can spend on Factor 55. And so where's something close? Okay, so 18-foot round sling, made in the U.S. That's not weird in the rigging world. What the fuck is piss off? So yeah, vertical 13,000, choker 10,000, basket 26,000, design factor 5-1. For an 18-foot round sling. So all kinds of different options, but if I was skidding logs, I would want steel, whether that be chain or wire rope. I would not go with synthetic slings. But you can see all sorts of different options here from rigging shops, and a lot of slings. Every synthetic sling that I've seen is made in the U.S., which is really awesome. And then a lot of chain stuff is either U.S. or Europe. There's actually not much Chinese stuff in a rigging shop. But yeah, so why in the hell would I spend $120 on the Factor 55 one when, to me, I can get the exact same thing for less money from a rigging store? It just, I don't understand. But, so, yeah, like I was saying, taking some of the rigging off my truck, and so it was just as good of an opportunity as any to film this video here. And you can see I've got kind of, an array of different shit here. But, obviously you can set all this stuff up in any different which way of configuration that you so choose. These here are not actually rated for overhead because they have the cotter pin in here, which is annoying because they're the only kind of hooks from a rigging store that you can get that don't have a latch on them. Outside of foundry hooks, of course, I know about foundry hooks. But these are Crosby's here. I haven't been able to find latchless sling hooks that are the normal rigging type pinned on. But yeah, that's one deal there. And those latchless ones wouldn't be very good if you want to skid around logs or whatever, because obviously they can pop off. Or not even pop off, they just fall off. But this would be one option here, for skidding logs around and everything. This is a P-Wag hook here. P-Wag, and however you're supposed to pronounce that in some cool Swedish or whatever accent. But these I like because they have a forged latch on them. They're not the little sheet metal latches, but of course you can form yourself a little choker that way. And then another option would be these locking grab hooks. So these are P-Wag as well, and they have this little locking pin on here so that you can choke around something and lock the grab hook on there, and then the grab hook isn't going to fall off. And this style here is actually really easy to use one-handed, and it's spring-loaded, so as soon as you let go of it, it snaps into place. And then, yeah, I figured I'd show a couple of the synthetic slings that I have here. Like I said, I don't own any round slings at the moment. I only have nylon web slings, but got a 1-inch, a 2-inch, and then a 4-inch here. And this 4-inch sling is actually the most expensive synthetic sling that I own, because again, everything's got pros and cons and trade-offs and what have you. The advantage to alloy chain is that short of just simply overloading it, it is borderline indestructible. You can use the stuff for decades and decades and decades, and as long as you know, are not a shithead and take care of it, don't let it get all fucking rusted up and everything. It kind of just lasts forever. Obviously, if you're using it literally every fucking day, it'll just simply wear out. Um, Here's a short little deal that I have here. These are actually relatively new hooks, but I have seen hooks that are damn near worn half the way through. So you can absolutely wear these things out, but it takes a tremendous amount of use to be able to do that. But yeah, the advantage to alloy, hard stuff, chains and you know all these fittings and everything is that they're borderline indestructible, short of just simply overloading them. They can work in high temperatures. In the case of all these here, these are all gunboat components, and they retain their normal working load up to 400 degrees. And you can still use them after 400 degrees, like 600. Just the rating goes down a little bit. You can put them over a sharp edge of an I-beam or something like that, and as long as you're at its working load limit, you're pretty much not going to damage it. But the two biggest disadvantages to these things is that they are very heavy and very expensive. Like, this one here is, I don't know, I could weigh it maybe 5 pounds, 4 pounds, something like that. I don't know, which, okay, that's no big deal. But this sling here is only rated for 4,700 pounds in a 2-leg, if I remember right. This is just cute little 732 chain. As the alloy chains get bigger, they get really heavy really fast. And they're noisy. I mean, might sound like a stupid thing, but they do actually make a pretty big racket, and on something like a steel table here, it is actually quite loud. But they're heavy, they're noisy, and they're expensive. This is the smallest size that Gunnebo makes currently, and you can see that this is a very short little chain, very short sling. This is, don't quote me, this is probably $350, I think, something like that. The self-locking swivel hooks are, I think, 150 a piece or something. It's kind of ridiculous. Well, so maybe it's more than 350. I don't know, but they're expensive anyways. Yeah, so alloy chains are great because they're nearly indestructible. They can take extreme temperatures. They can take sharp edges and just general abuse and everything, but they're heavy, make a lot of racket, and are expensive. The advantage to synthetics, and really all synthetics, whether you're talking about flat web slings or round slings or synthetic winch rope, whatever, is that they are unbelievably lightweight for their weight rating. They are relatively cheap. It's not like they give them away, but they are shitload cheaper than alloy chain, and they're super flexible. And so they're really nice to work with in that regard. The disadvantage to them is that they will break down in UV, and that's over long periods of time. It's not to say that if you leave them outside for a week they're fucked or something like that, but they do break down over time in UV. They are very easy to damage. If you put them on a sharp edge or something like that, they'll cut rather easily because they are just a synthetic material. It's think of treating these things like a synthetic winch rope, basically. They don't take extreme temperatures. I think their safe working load is good up to like 180 degrees, but don't quote me on that. And they're not supposed to be using anything higher than that. And whatever the temperature is, 180 degrees, 200 or something. And they can be damaged by chemicals. And in the case of nylon slings, you actually have to reduce their working load limit if they just simply get wet with water. If you're outside working in the rain, you're actually have to derate these a little bit. I don't know what the derating is when they're wet, but I try to use synthetic slings for overhead lifting anyways at like 25% of their capacity. A lot of people use these things and have, really good success with them and everything and whatnot, but I don't know, it just kind of gives me the heebie-jeebies to, see these things used at their rated load. I don't know, call me old school or something like that, but seeing this little sling here, this cute little tiny sling here, is rated for 3,000 pounds vertical and 6,400 basket. So this little tiny thing, I think I paid $11 for it. Seeing this thing with 3,000 pounds on it vertical just kind of sends shivers up my spine a little bit. Never had one break. Never had a synthetic web sling break aside from getting a sharp corner, but that was a different situation. It wasn't vertically lifting. It was trying to tow a semi. But yeah, I don't know, it just kind of gives me the heebie-jeebies. But so yeah, like I said, kind of getting distracted and whatever here, and mine's running in circles and shit. But so there's a couple different setups of these things. So there's the I and I slings. I typically hear them referred to, which obviously it has an I on either side. And then there are continuous slings like these guys here, which stay, as the name implies, is one continuous loop. And this is the only way that I personally have seen round slings. But these are really cool because, they're 2-ply when used in a vertical fashion like that. But, of course, they're not sewn together. And so they're extremely flexible. And you can do all sorts of weird shit with these things that you wouldn't be able to do with alloy chain or cables or whatever. And, they're really, really flexible and whatnot. But this has the same rating as the other one. And then I've got just shorter and longer versions of those. These are all I and I slings here. And if I get the 2-inch version here, so 2-inch 2-ply, you can see just as the ones on Tulsa chain were rated, they're the identical rating. And then as far as what I own anyways, this one 4-inch sling here I custom ordered to my specifications and length and all that kind of stuff, and is a 4-inch 2-ply, so 11.5 vertical, 23,000 basket, 80 inches long, and is a 2-ply, and I think I paid $42 for it if I remember right. Yeah, I don't know, not too exciting or whatever, but that's just a little bit of web slings. Oh, right. Almost forgot. So, like I was saying, these things are relatively delicate, or well, they're extremely delicate when compared to alloy chains, but they still do actually hold up pretty well over time. You can see all the slings that I just had on the table just recently are all nice and pretty looking because they're all relatively brand new. I think this is probably the oldest one that. Yeah, oldest one out of the ones that I had on the table just now, and only a couple months old. This one here I've had as basically a tree strap for since 2016, and I've overloaded this as far as its safe working load a number of times, and because I mainly use it as a tree strap or going around an axle or something, I'll have it set up with, the eyes going to a shackle or my winch hook, and then this end here around a tree. So this is the side that's got the most wear on it. But even then you can see it's like a little bit frayed, a little bit fuzzy just from being used, but nothing too crazy at all. But what is really, really interesting about this that I was unaware of until relatively recently, and I don't know if the round slings do it too, and there's no way that I'll be able to get this in the same shot, or all in frame at once, I guess. But so these two are identical, just this one's been used and this is essentially brand new. I think I've done one thing with it, one or two anyways, but you can see holding them at the same length here, and then if I run my hand down the length of the sling, you can see the older one is a little bit shorter, and that just confused the shit out of me at first. And like I said, I know that I've overloaded this one because this one I actually haven't used for overhead lifting. I've just used it for winch and shit around or whatever. I was like, so if I overloaded it, you'd think the fucker'd be longer, but it's actually shorter. And I talked to the local rigging shop, and I guess that's a normal thing that nylon slings actually shrink over time. So if you're wanting a set or a pair or 6 slings or whatever to all be the same length, you have to make sure that they're all the same date. And so you see this is the dirty one here, 2/7 of 16, and that's the shorter one. And then the clean one here, and you can see same length and everything, 1/28/21. So, yeah. So yeah, if it were me skidding logs around and shit, I would use steel of one form or another, whether it be chains or wire rope. And I really don't fucking see the point to Factor 55. I don't get it.